Hello there. I thought I'd talk a bit today about how we deal with past hurt, um, things that have gone maybe really wrong in our life, maybe things that others have done to us, or mistakes that we've made. Basically, baggage that we're carrying. And I think we all carry some baggage to some extent. So I want to approach it from three angles, and that is our behavior, our thoughts, and our emotions. So first of all, um, what can we do about it with our actions? Well, obviously, sometimes there's conversations that we can have. We can go back to things. We can make amends, perhaps by apologising or writing a letter perhaps to somebody who's really hurt us. So when there's something that we can do, it is important to think of the benefits of doing that, the kind of clearing out so that we can have a clear conscience. And I think a clear conscience is something really important to have in meditation. We're not going to be able to meditate very deeply unless we deal with everything that we can deal with. And there's a lot that we can't. But, if we do everything we can to make amends, to apologise, or maybe to have our say at a time when we didn't feel like we had our say, then we've done all we can do. The other thing we can do in terms of action is it might be good to have some therapy. Therapy is very common today, so you've probably already done that to some extent. There's all sorts of therapeutic methods, but sometimes we have to address psychological issues by talking about it, by going through it, by going over it again and again, and maybe by reliving experiences that have been very painful. So that's what we can do with our body. But that's not the whole of it, and our thoughts and our emotions need addressing too. So in terms of our thoughts, well, if we're following a Buddhist path, one thing that is really helpful is to realize the brevity of life. So you know that one of the four mind-turning reflections is reflecting on the preciousness of our human birth. So there are various opportunities that we have in this lifetime that we will never get again, regardless of whether we believe in rebirth or not. If this is the only life, then it's really important that we find ways to move on from some of our pain, or we're never going to enjoy the rest of our life. But if we do have an open mind, at least, towards rebirth, well, this particular lifetime gives us special opportunities, and we don't want to waste those. We know that everything is impermanent, and especially us, we're getting older. We never know, even if we're not getting older, even if we're really young, you never know when death will come. People die at all ages. So knowing that can give us an impetus that we don't want to waste this precious life by ruminating over the past and what can't be changed. We can't go back to the past. So actually, knowing that this isn't about suppressing thoughts, it's more about, gosh, if we really know, if we really, really know how short life is, we will not want to waste it. Now, the other way that we can approach our thinking is to, let's say we've got anger about something in the past. We need to look clearly at what that anger is doing to us. So let's say somebody really, really hurt us. Our being angry all through our meditation, our being angry in our life, actually doesn't hurt that other person at all, but it definitely does hurt us, because what it does is it poisons our whole body and mind. So anger, resentment, and so on, they're very habitual. We can just get into habitual ways of seeing things. They also can tend to make us feel sorry for ourselves or feel it's not fair, things aren't fair. Well, what is fairness? Life isn't going to be fair. And the chances are that our life is a jolly sight better than a lot of people's, in terms of the gifts that we have of our body and our practice, if we've come to meditation. So seeing the consequences of dwelling on negativity is very useful, because we can see clearly that the only person we're hurting is ourselves by having those thoughts. And once again, it doesn't mean about suppressing thoughts, but sometimes in meditation we just have to have the clarity that we are choosing whether to meditate or not. We're choosing whether to let go or not. And sometimes I talk about this sense of presence or awareness that is behind our thinking, that's behind all the worry, all the stress, all the useless thoughts that are going on. It's like, what use are these thoughts to me now? Most of them, not very much. So if we want to meditate, by doing the mindfulness of breathing regularly, I think we come to a sense of awareness of the body, awareness of the breath, that in a way, once we learn how to relax into that, becomes a much bigger part of our experience. It's now, it's right now, it's not about the past. So learning how to live in the present with mindfulness is, well, it's invaluable, completely invaluable, if we can learn how to do that. So now we come to our emotions, and this is really about facing our emotions. Awareness is about turning towards everything. And sometimes I think we can imagine that if we meditate, we're just going to have good experiences. Well, actually, we're just going to have whatever arises. And because we're not used to sitting quietly in meditation, well, most of us aren't, if we're not used to doing that, then actually once we turn towards ourself, once we turn with awareness, everything turns up. Everything is pulled out of the cupboard eventually. And that's very relieving, because what we find is that when we face our fears and when we face our darkest sides, we start absorbing them. It's like they get absorbed into the body. So it's vital that we learn how to turn with kindness to our experience. And I mentioned yesterday that me and Savananda are going to be doing a meditation course on kindliness, turning towards ourselves with kindness, which is so important. And this is very useful, when we have got difficult things that we're turning towards. So, yes, our body, our actions with our body, our thoughts and our emotions all need to be included when we are turning towards past pains. That's all for today. Bye.